The lights flicker, footsteps echo down empty halls, the air turns cold in the polar station. Welcome to Terrorscape Season 2. Hey folks, I'm Mark, and today we're diving into one of my absolute favorite games. Terrorscape is a survival horror showdown. For 2 to 4 players, it runs about 30 to 45 minutes, and it's recommended for ages 14 and up. Now, this is a hidden movement meets heart-pounding suspense, dropping you right into your own horror movie. On one side of the screen, you've got the survivors, working together, whispering plans, sneaking through rooms, and searching desperately for anything that might keep them alive. On the other side of the screen, sitting alone and plotting, is the killer, a relentless hunter with powerful abilities, leveling up as the game goes on and tightening the net one step at a time. The tension in this game is incredible. Survivors are very fragile, so their best chance is to stay hidden, move quietly, and use whatever scraps they can find. Keys to escape, tools to repair equipment, or bandages to patch wounds. Every action risks making noise, and noise is exactly what the killer feeds on. And once the killer gets close, the chase is on. All it takes is one unlucky encounter for the night to end in blood, because the killer doesn't need to take down the whole group, just one survivor is enough. Meanwhile, the killer, where I'm sitting, is a mix of patience and brutality. They don't know exactly where the survivors are, but they can sense zones, block doors, and force their prey into tighter corners. The back and forth is like living inside a horror movie. Every turn feels like that moment where you're whispering at the screen, "Don't open that door." And that's the rhythm of the game. Survivors take their turns to move, search, or repair, and then the killer swoops in with deduction and brutal attacks. Back and forth until one side wins. It truly is the heartbeat of Terrorscape. So that's a broad overview of this game. Now what we're going to really focus on is what's new in Season 2, and it dials everything up. The backbone of the game is the same, so veterans will feel right at home, but there are more ways to win, more cinematic moments, and a bigger toolbox on both sides of the screen. The board is full of chilling details, from the polar station itself to these ominous signposts that feel like they've been ripped right out of a horror film. Survivors can now try to repair and refuel a vehicle for a daring escape. Imagine throwing everything into a last-second getaway while the killer bears down on you. Among the new twists is one of my favorites, the binoculars. Survivors can peer through them to uncover the killer's hidden weakness, written in secret right on the card. It feels like you've just stumbled onto the monster's one fatal flaw, something you'll tuck away until the right moment. Of course, the killer has their own view of that same card, learning where they're strongest in that final fight. It's a delicious bit of hidden information, survivors holding their breath with a secret advantage, killers smiling with quiet confidence. It's reckless, it's dramatic, and it feels exactly like the cinematic fight scene in a horror movie where you're either cheering or covering your eyes. Searching has also evolved. In addition to the Discover deck, you now have separate medical and weapon decks. That means you can head to specific locations, depending on what you need: bandages to patch someone up, or weapons to boost your odds in a fight. And speaking of patching up, survivors themselves bring new abilities to the table. Evelyn can wrap someone in bandages that heal them 2 rounds later, all without alerting the killer. Quinto can slip through secret passages in the middle of the move, shaving off precious steps. And Victoria's experimental gadget is a powerful device with limited charges, giving her a real mad scientist vibe. But use it wisely, because once the batteries are gone, it is done. Even the tokens drip with theme. Skulls marking your doom, ominous props on the board that feel like set pieces from a slasher flick. Its color is tension, and it keeps you in the horror mindset. The new maps also add elevated levels, with one-way routes marked by orange arrows. Survivors might find themselves cut off, forced to circle around, but the killer can push through at a cost. Survivors can also use ropes, I love this feature, quietly flipping the terrain in their favor, opening up sneaky two-way paths that the killer doesn't know about. And killers themselves bring something new with the keyword delay. Some of their nastiest abilities don't hit right away, but instead hang over the survivors, taking effect the following round. It's like a shadow looming over the map, and it keeps the tension building even when the killer isn't right in your face. And then there are the quirky touches, like the alarm clock that doesn't ring until 2 rounds later, luring the killer like bait. Or the cat, yes, there's literally a cat, wandering the map, meowing and making noise at the worst possible times. Survivors can move it, but it'll always cause a stir. It's those little details that make this game feel alive, unpredictable, and very cinematic. And of course, we have to talk about the 3D board and all the components. Pretty amazing. The 3D cardboard polar station is stunning on the table. It doesn't just set the scene, it pulls you right into the story. Add in the dice tower, custom minis, and thick tokens, and you've got the right kind of production that makes this game feel like it's a horror movie set laid out in front of you. And of course, Terrorscape 2 is bringing in new killers to go along with this. You have Orion, who I played in the prototype, who is particularly brutal. Eyebot and Parasitoid, each with their own terrifying style, and the game is fully compatible with the original. That means you can mix survivors, killers across both editions, facing off any map you want. And at the end of the day, Terrorscape 2 takes everything you enjoyed about the original, that nail-biting suspense, creeping dread, and the desperate teamwork, and layers on even more ways to tell horror story at the table. Sometimes you're sneaking through the dark, sometimes you're racing for a last-second escape, and sometimes you're crazy enough to fight back. No matter how it plays out, every session feels like stepping into your own horror movie. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. Yes, this is a prototype, so keep a close eye in the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now that said, I understand fully that this is a Dice Tower paid preview, but Terrorscape has definitely been one of my favorite games, and this new edition brings some amazing new gameplay to it. I like the theme, where it's set, the different types of villains that you're going to be going up against, gives it more of that horror sci-fi vibe to it. Maybe something like The Thing comes to mind, especially with some of those villains for sure. And there's new characters to play, all kinds of new items, and new ways to get around and distract the villain as well. And of course, the cat being that random element in the game is a really fun aspect for sure. And I love the different terrains and how the maps work now, especially the ropes, like I said. It adds this hidden escape route, so to say, that the killer can't really plan on and doesn't know where you've placed. So there's some really interesting things that happen around that for sure. But with all that said, if you liked the original, this is gonna have all that same gameplay, but with just so much more. And folks, ultimately, if it does look like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.